This is Brian, Atlanta Hot Tub Center and Tub Talk 101, and today by popular demand we're going to talk about how to kill and prevent hot tub algae, mold, and mildew. I think it's important to understand how these problems come about. So we're going to kind of explain algae, mold, and mildew, and then we're going to explain how to prevent it and how to fix it. Okay? If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us get the word out to more people and help more people with their hot tubs. Okay, so here we go. Algae, mold, and mildew will generally form or grow in a hot tub when a hot tub's pH is imbalanced or sanitizers aren't being added regularly or correctly, right? So a lot of times people say, hey, look, I'm having a problem with the hot tub, and they think that it might possibly be the hot tub. And that's an okay thing to think. However, a hot tub on its own cannot produce mold, algae, and mildew. It is normally an imbalance of pH, or again, the sanitizers aren't being added regularly or correctly. So if you're having some of these problems, you may want to go to your dealer and kind of ask, because you may not be doing it correctly. Now, it's important to understand that they all grow. When I say they, that's algae, mold, and mildew. They all grow faster in warm, wet conditions. So once the mold starts to grow or mildew starts to grow in warm, wet conditions, it's just going to grow like a wildfire. And normally it'll be everywhere until you just take care of it, right? And we're going to talk about that here soon. Now, I want to address mold. Mold is, first things first, mold is normally kind of furry, so that's how you can tell if you have mold. Mildew is more of like a black patch. You can see there is mold that's obviously black, but again, it's normally a little bit furry, and you can also see it can be white, but it's normally a little bit furry. Mildew isn't really furry, but it is in a patch that can be black or white. Most mildew that you see is going to be black. But for mold, guys, a hot tub's really got to be neglected. In other words, you left the water in the hot tub without doing any chemicals for 3 or 4 months, something like that. Or the hot tub's been down for 3 or 4 years and you're going to fire it back up, something along those lines. Okay, so we're not going to dig too much into mold because we don't see it very often, but I will give you a way a way to correct it, a way to take care of it if you do have mold in the hot tub. Mildew, guys, is a fungi and is usually wiped away very easily with a magic eraser, and it can grow and grow quickly, and that's mainly what we see in hot tubs is we see mildew. One of the places it likes to grow first is on the cover, so a lot of people notice mildew on the actual cover, right? To combat mildew, again, guys, it's really getting your chemicals in balance is really how you're going to combat that. But once it grows, right, once you have that imbalance of chemicals and it starts growing, that's where it can get tricky to get rid of so that you can kind of get back to not having that particular issue. Algae, guys, so algae is mainly coming off of your skin or bathing suit or something along those lines. And you're saying, well, what do you mean? Well, so normally if you use a pool, let's say a friend's pool or a neighborhood pool, algae is very hard to detect in a pool. You probably won't know that it's in there, okay? And then it gets on your skin or your bathing suit, and then you go to get into your hot tub, and then you bring that into your hot tub, and then that algae just starts growing in the hot tub, right? You bring the spores in, and then it just goes, okay? It can also come in from the lake, right? So lakes have a ton of algae in it, and parasites amongst many other things that can create problems for hot tubs and hot tub chemistry. A river, if you get into a river, right? So how do you combat, algae and that from happening? Well, you don't want to get into a community or friend's pool or something along those lines and then get into the hot tub. Make sure that you rinse off, make sure you wash your bathing suit. Don't just set your bathing suit up on a rack until it dries and then put it back on and get into the hot tub, because the algae is still in the bathing suit. You got to rinse all that stuff off when you're going from these different bodies of water to your hot tub. Can algae grow beyond that? Yes, it can. You know, spores can form from chemical imbalance, and you can have algae all over the place. So normally what we see in hot tubs, guys, again, is going to be more mildew than anything else. We do see some algae, and there's treatment. And the good news is that most of the treatments actually take care of all three, right? So let's dig into that. So if you have a mold issue, guys, there's a product called Awesome. Awesome is a great product. I think it's AWWWWSOM or something like that. It's got a weird spelling, but if you type it into Google, it's going to come up. Guys, this is pretty good stuff. The only problem with it is it leaves a pretty bad residue after you use the product. It is a product that you use to flush your system, and it is going to require an intense cleaning, right? So you may want to hire a professional to do it if you have a mold issue. Common molds, guys, that I've seen in different hot tubs over the years, again, I rarely deal with it, is greenish, blackish, kind of grayish. It's a little bit on the furry side. Guys, that's mold, right? I mean, it's pretty, we all know what mold looks like. Think of a moldy piece of bread. Who hasn't seen a moldy piece of bread in their life? Everybody's seen one at some point in time. You pull out the loaf of bread and it's moldy. It's the same thing on the hot tub. It's furry and all that stuff, and you'll know. And you want to get the product Awesome. You want to follow the directions. My suggestion would be hire a professional, but I have had people over the years do it, and they've been very successful themselves. Okay? Now I want to talk about a great way to take care of algae and mildew together. Okay? If you have this problem and you're using an at-ease system or a different system where chlorine levels are pretty low, or a salt system, okay, if you're using a salt system or something along those lines, you're going to have to supplement chlorine to do this, because you've got to get chlorine levels at 4 parts per million would be my suggestion, my opinion, and you have to maintain it there, okay? So let me dig into that a little bit, okay? When you add chlorine to water, right, it's inactive. It becomes active when it comes into contact with bacteria, right, or algae or mold or any of this stuff. And then it's going to invade and destroy it, right? But then that's going to deplete your chlorine, right? So you will have to go out there every single day for 2 to 3 weeks is normally how long this process takes, or every other day you're going to have to go out there and make sure you're maintaining a good 4 parts per million, okay, of chlorine, right? So you may have to add a little chlorine every other day to maintain that. You can't spike it, wait till it tears down, then go back up and spike it and tear down. You can't do that. You got to get a nice level of chlorine in there, okay? And you got to keep it steady at 4 parts per million, okay? And you may have to do that for 2 or 3 weeks. You got to keep your pH in balance, okay, during this time as well. So it's very, very important that you are doing those things so that you can take care of this. And normally in 2 to 3 weeks, that stuff goes away. Now you're probably asking, well, what do? It's all over the place. Well, wipe it off with a magic eraser, okay? And wipe off the cover, wipe everything down, right? And you got the chlorine in the water, so when it drops into the water, the chlorine's going to kill it. It's going to end up in your filter. Pull your filter out every few days while you're going through this process and spray it off really, really good. And I think you'll find in 2 to 3 weeks, it's gone and you're back to your normal regimen. You'll put that extra chlorine that you have up in the cabinet or whatever, and you're done. And you're using it and enjoying your hot tub. A lot of people ask me, can they use a little chlorine, right, or a little bleach, right, like a 90-10, bleach and water to kind of help clean the cover up and stuff? Absolutely. I mean, bleach is chlorine, and it is going to kill it as you're wiping it off. So feel free to go forth and use that. Now to take care of really all 3 of them, guys. I mean, Algicide is where we're going next, and Algicide, guys, will just about knock out everything, okay? This is Algae 60. This is a product that we use in some cases, and you don't need much. You can fill up this little capful, and you would add this one little tiny little capful, no more than 1 time a week, okay? It can create some foaming in the water. That is normal, and you don't want to use the hot tub until 24 hours after using this product. So you wouldn't want to put this little capful in and get in after it. You would put this little capful in, right? Wait 24 hours before you use it. You got to make sure your chlorine levels, you still have to make sure your chlorine levels are up. You got to make sure they're between 3 to 5 parts per million. You don't want to see your chlorine dip during this time. This is another 2 to 3 week process. This is a more severe case, right? We talked about trying keeping the chlorine levels up, that normally takes care of it. If that's not taking care of it and you got to move to this guy, you can, and I guarantee you this will knock it out. Again, this is designed for a pool with attached spas. They don't have algicide for hot tubs, guys, so you have to be careful, right? Pools are much bigger bodies of water. This stuff is potent. It's strong. In my opinion, you want to add a very, 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 very small amount, and then you've got to be a little bit patient. But again, during this time, 3 to 5 parts per million of chlorine, steady, 2 to 3 weeks until you knock it all out of there, okay? So that's how you're going to take care of those things. We also have this mold and mildew cleaner and blocker. I don't know how much of a blocker it is. I mean, if you're maintaining your chemicals, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, you shouldn't have the problem. But it is a good cleaner, right? So this is a nice disinfectant to be able to kill any type of mold or mildew or algae. I mean, it's gonna kill that too. And you can spray this on your cover in your tub and all that stuff as well. And this will take care of that. So now let's talk about how to prevent. How do we prevent algae, mold, and mildew? Well, guys, it really just comes down to maintaining the hot tub properly. We just did a video on how to maintain your Sundance hot tub under 10 minutes. We're gonna do it on a general hot tub as well, and we're gonna do it on salt systems as well, so we can really show people how to maintain it. What I have found over the years, right, is that normally customers don't totally understand exactly how to take care of a hot tub, which is how these situations happen, right? So if you're watching this video and you're like, man, I'm telling you, I'm putting the chlorine, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you know, I'm not saying that you're not giving it a great effort, but you may not be doing it just quite right, which is why you're having some of these issues, right? So it's important to call your dealer or call your service company. Let us know you're having this problem so that we can find a regimen, right? That we can go through and say, hey, oh no, don't do this, do that, right? So that we can make sure that this doesn't happen. And that's really how you're going to prevent it, because all of this really comes down to an imbalance of water chemistry. This is Brian at Atlanta Hot Tub Center, and how to kill and prevent algae, mold, and mildew. Thank you.